this to you then afterwards.
Okay, that's cool.
So is it recording? It's recording right now.
Cool.
And I've never recorded one before, so I don't know how it works. But what I'll do is when it's done, there must be a way to send it to you. It must be easy enough.
Yeah.
Very cool. So delighted to be chatting with you. Can't wait to get stuck into these questions.
I've been very nervous because, like, with Robin and things, I didn't really know what to expect. And now, because I know you, I'm a bit like, I don't know.
No. So nothing to be nervous about. Believe me, nothing to be nervous about. I know I'm an open book about things. The only thing I don't talk about ever is politics. I keep that to myself,
Oh no.
Unless we're on the same page, and then we can talk about it.
Okay, so the way I start with everybody is just asking, like the person, the interviewee, like, tell me a bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. All right. Well, my name is Mick, Michael Mellamphy, Michael Declan Mellamphy is my full name. I was born in Ireland in 1976. I'm a Scorpio, November 12th, 1976. Put all my information out there. I was born in Dublin. My mother's side of the family's from Dublin. My dad's side of the family's from Cork, which is in the far south of Ireland. It's all the way down south. Next stop is Spain once you get off the island of Ireland. That's where I grew up, and I spent a lot of my summer holidays in Dublin visiting my mum's side of the family. So I spent like a good portion of my time between the two places. And growing up, I've said this to people before, I wasn't like the greatest student in the world, but when I was in primary school, I discovered school plays, the school musicals, and all of a sudden it just kind of made a lot of sense to me. It helped me learn, helped me become a better student in many ways. I found it fun, I found it exciting. I love sports, but I was never very good at sports, even though I love playing football and love playing soccer and Gaelic football and hurling growing up. But I have two left feet really when it comes to sports. But I still run. I run quite a bit. I've run a couple of marathons in my lifetime. And as I was in secondary school, I started doing a few professional theatre gigs. And then when secondary school ended, there wasn't really anything else I wanted to do but act and continue to act. So I figured it out. I went to a couple of drama schools. I spent a year studying theatre in Cork with Michael Fassbender, actually. We were in the same class.
Wow.
And we performed a couple of plays together, which was really cool. He's done some pretty amazing work since, And then I went to Dublin for a few years, and I did a theatre performance course at Inchicore College in Dublin. Let me turn that off. Let me turn that down. And spent 3 years studying theatre studies there. And like most actors, supported myself by working in pubs and bars. And then in 2000, I just decided to come to the States on just for a vacation, for a holiday, to visit a friend of mine that I worked with in a bar in Dublin. And 21 years later, I'm still here. I never went back. So
amazing.
Just kind of figured it out, and it's been great. It's been good so far, so good.
Yeah. I'm so envious of that, because as you know, I tried to go to college for that kind of stuff, and also didn't go with the way I planned. But I admire that. I really admire the path that you went down.
Well, things don't always work out the way you think they're going to work out. And even for me now, after like my 20 years being here, I didn't think I was going to be here that long. So the one thing I'll say to you is, like, you never know. You never know what's around the corner. And the experiences that you have, even though they might seem negative or disappointing at the time, like, they're your experiences. And, you're the only one who can kind of shape like what comes out of those experiences. That's something I try to tell myself about every audition I go to. Like, the odds are always stacked against you with every audition. And for Séan MacGuire, for instance, I've had probably 20 or 30 auditions that I went to for other stuff that just didn't go my way. So a lot of the time it's letting the experiences add up and just hoping that the odds are in your favor,
So I'm going to go slightly more on the kind of Rockstar, Séan MacGuire kind of angle here.
Absolutely.
So, were you familiar with Rockstar when you auditioned?
I was. I knew who Rockstar was. I can remember playing the very first Grand Theft Auto on the PlayStation, on the first PlayStation, and I knew like the type. I knew that they were huge. I knew that they made extremely like, cutting edge, involved games. I really like Rock. I really appreciated Rockstar because they kind of had this attitude of they just didn't really like they just kind of they walk to the beat of their own drum. You know, they're very they've got their own kind of thing going on, and I really admire that from a company. And they didn't seem to apologize either about what they were doing in the video game world. You know, they were so innovative and pioneering. Um, but when I first auditioned, I wasn't actually as aware of how big they were. You know, I wouldn't consider myself a gamer, even though I like playing games. I wouldn't consider myself to have been as entrenched in the culture of gaming. You know, gaming to me was kind of like what theater is to a lot of people. A lot of people, theater is just kind of just entertainment, something to do with their friends on a Friday night if you know if they choose to. And I kind of had a bit of that attitude about gaming, that it was just something that I kind of did as kind of mindless entertainment to keep myself occupied. And yeah, after working with them, I've completely been turned around. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid now. I'm definitely a follower of the video game culture and industry. It's been pretty amazing to kind of just to meet so many people like yourself and so many people out there who are so creative and use the video game culture to kind of put their energy into positive, creative places, which I really appreciate, and it inspires me a lot.
So, if you were given like another video game role, is that something you would run to, or?
If I was given the option to work on another video game, absolutely, yeah. I mean, for me, it's work. You know, any bit of work at all is great, especially at the moment. Yeah, I'm dying to do some more stuff, but I don't know. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. You know, I loved playing Sean so much. I absolutely adore Sean. I love him so much, um, and in a way, I suppose a lot of people probably just see me as Sean now. And if
Yeah.
something else came along that was similar to him, maybe, you know. So it's although it's great to like have Sean in my back pocket and to have been able to kind of work on him. It's kind of up to me now to try to see if I can get more work. You know.
I know. I can't imagine what you're going through right now, because I know that you're mainly a theatre actor, and then having this decline, so we should say, happen. Has that really been a huge knock, or are you just trying to figure things around?
It's it's multifaceted. I always try to maintain like a positive outlook. I mean, this year has been horrible for so many people, and thankfully, me and my own family and our circle and my fiance's family, like, thankfully, we haven't been affected in terms of illnesses, or it hasn't come to our door too closely. So that's the first and foremost. That's the most important thing there. Like, is that people in our world, thankfully, right now, for the most part, are healthy. In terms of the artistic and creative side and work, it's been very inspiring to see so much of the acting community, theater and video games, everyone, musicians, kind of come together to put their creativity and art out into the universe to kind of help people through these times as well. Like, the first thing everyone's been doing has been consuming art, whether it's music or online theater or video games. That's been very inspiring. I won't lie. I mean, it's been difficult. The last couple of months have been difficult to be. I've found it quite difficult to focus my creativity the last few months. I tend to work really well, and it's kind of a theater thing, I guess. Like, I work really well like when I'm collaborating with people. And right now, because a lot of theaters aren't open and a lot of stuff has kind of moved online, it's been just hard for me to kind of focus my energy. But I'm trying. I'm working on it. I'm giving myself little tasks to do every week, and trying to come up with something that's going to be worthwhile. And, keep this space open. You might be seeing it in the next couple of weeks, or hearing it. You might be hearing it in the next couple of weeks. So.
So you said that you've only played you played video games, but you wouldn't consider yourself a gamer. Has that changed at all since since becoming Séan MacGuire, has it had been a bit of a...
Oh, it has. Yeah. Even when we were in the middle of working on Red Dead Redemption 2, I'd heard of Red Dead Redemption, but I'd never played it. And I've people in my life who would be, more into gaming than I am. And I went out and I got the original one and got into it and played it. And I remember thinking, like, how the hell, how are they going to do this? I kind of got into it all right. When it comes to gaming, I do tend to get FIFA every year. I'm a glutton for FIFA. That's like, I know. And it's funny because a lot of gamers are like, "Oh my god, really? That's what you play?" It's kind of like going to a bar and ordering Coors Light, I guess, for a lot of people. It's like going to a fancy craft beer place and ordering Coors Light. But yeah, I love FIFA because soccer is my biggest passion. I love soccer, and that's something that keeps me up at night. Is football. So FIFA would be a game that I play a lot, and recently I've started playing a lot of older games, like I play like NHL hockey from the '90s and Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario Brothers. So I love all the retro stuff. When I was a kid, I had a Commodore 64 and I had a Sega Mega Drive and stuff. And I loved gaming as a way to kind of escape. Certainly since just getting to know a lot more of the culture of video games now, it's something that I'm really, really kind of a lot more interested in.
Yeah.
And again, I just find that people who are in video games, whether it's fans and supporters or people who work directly in them, like they're so creative, and it's just so I find it very inspiring.
So how did the response to the game make you feel?
I'm sorry, dear, what was that?
How did the response to the game make you feel?
It blew me away. It's even now I still have a hard time. Even right now, I have a hard time getting my head around just how big the game is. I did a little interview. I did an interview with an Irish American newspaper here a couple of weeks ago. It actually only came out today, and they mentioned how like the Avengers Endgame, I think, Avengers Endgame, the movie, like made something like $700 million at the box office, and Red Dead 2 made that in its first weekend. So I still can't get my head around just how massive it is. Also knowing that it's kind of universal, like that it reaches all four corners of the globe, if there's such a thing. Knowing that there are people all over the world from different backgrounds, like with different cultures, who are consuming it. It's not just for like the American market or the Western European market or anything like that. Like, there's people from all across the world who, have different experiences, and they're all kind of playing this and they're all involved in this game. And I think that's something that really kind of makes me kind of proud to be a part of it all, is that it is kind of it's kind of brought the world together in ways that very few other things do. Like video games bring the world together in the same way I think soccer kind of does. It's almost like a universal language. Yeah. So that's the thing that kind of that's something that makes me think quite a bit about, and it makes me very happy to be a little part of it,
Yeah, I totally agree. So, oh gosh, I'd have to turn the page, but
that's all right.
So obviously you've been an actor for 20 plus years.
30 plus years. I'm old.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
I did it the other day. I went online today and I found some old stuff from my very first professional show, which was in 1991. So wow, yeah, it's going to be 30 years I've been doing this as as a passion, and also trying to do it as a job. So yeah, when you put it in those terms, it's like, so being an actor for 30 years. Sorry for interrupting the question, pardon me.
No, honestly, don't worry about it. So yeah, you've had all this experience, but what would your advice be to somebody who's just starting out?
Try not to be discouraged. It's a very, very difficult profession. Actually, I don't consider it a profession. I consider acting more of a vocation. If the reason you're doing it is for money and wealth and fame, I think very long and hard about it, because it really it's there's a lot easier ways to make a lot of money and get famous than doing this for a living. Um, I do think it's a wonderful career. I mean, the very basis of it is you're constantly discovering stuff about yourself. You're constantly kind of looking inward. You're constantly kind of examining, your place in the world. So for people who are interested in that kind of work, then I'd go for it. And just, yeah, the thing with an acting career as well is like it kind of goes hand in hand with just living your everyday life. You're not always going to be working, so you need to kind of be sure about how you can make a living on the side as well. So anything that you can kind of figure out to help you do that as well is something that I would always advise people, and just don't get disheartened. There's going to be a lot of knocks. Like I said, for every time I land something, like I've only ever landed something like Séan MacGuire once, but I've walked into hundreds upon hundreds of audition rooms, and to be honest, the only reason I got Séan MacGuire in the end wasn't because I was more appropriate or better than anyone else. It was simply because I just decided, because I went on the audition, and because because I walked into hundreds of audition rooms prior to that one, is basically the reason why it happened for me. I'm the luckiest person in the world with Sean with Red Dead Redemption 2 because I got to play him. And, really, he is the culmination of so many talented, amazing people, like at Rockstar, between the writers, between the directors, the animators, everyone who works there. Like, I got the plum job, I was lucky. And that's it, you got to be, you also just have to trust in being lucky, in acting in general, like, and that's just it.
So do you have advice to your younger self?
To my younger self? Oh yeah, Cheney Mac. I have a lot of advice. How long have you got? To my younger self, I would say, don't get down. Try to focus on what you want. Try to focus on what you want yourself, Mick. In life, you're going to come across times where you're going to feel that doing things for other people, I guess, or living other people's lives or living up to other people's expectations is important. And I guess that's something that I've kind of had in my own life where I let that cloud my own judgment or my own focus. And I think the true friends you have in life are people who kind of support you in that. I wouldn't be doing this right now if it wasn't for the support of my fiance Jessica. Like, she encouraged me like to pursue my acting career. And there's and you don't always get people who are who are so kind of selfless like that. So when you find people like that who are selfless and just want to encourage you to do what's best for you, hold on to them and try not to get sidetracked with what other people necessarily want for you. That's heavy.
No, I love that. I absolutely love that.
Well, it's only natural. I think it's only natural. Sorry, I think it's only natural that as humans, we want to please other people as well, and we want to do what we think is right. And it's not always easy to figure out that. And I found that focusing on what I need and what I want has kind of led me to some positive places. So there. Yeah. That's the short form answer.
If we have a few hours, maybe we'll do another one.
Exactly. Crack open a bottle of whiskey and start chatting about all that.
About the good old days. So what lies in the future for you? I know that's a hard time with COVID and everything, but what lies in the future? Do you know?
Well, I've got lots of positive stuff to look forward to. I'm working on a short movie called Work by Aoife Williamson, which is a really amazing piece. She's an amazing Irish writer, actor, director. She's brilliant. And it's about a woman who works as an escort as well as a musician, and just that kind of work-life balance. And it's a very funny, but it's also very frank and honest kind of look at the sex industry. Whether you like it or not, it exists. And the one great thing about this project is it's always, very seldom is it from the point of view of somebody who's working in the industry who is empowered enough to kind of own it, to own their place in that industry, their sexuality, I guess. So that's something that really excites me about this movie. It's a very frank, honest look at that. And there's a little musical I've been working on. It's nothing is kind of set in stone yet, but there's some workshops going on with that I'm really excited about as well. Of course, the last few months have been tough. There hasn't been much auditioning going on. But a couple of things I've been working on myself. I may be putting out a podcast in the next couple of weeks or months. Just something I want to do because nobody else is doing it. Like, I mean, there's nobody doing podcasts at all right now. So I figure, why not? Joking, of course.
I know.
That's kind of it professionally right now. I was supposed to be doing a show called The Smuggler at the Irish Rep, which is like my favorite place here in New York. It's my second home. Unfortunately, it's postponed, but it will be happening hopefully in 2021 if we can get the theatres reopened here. So that's something I'm looking forward to, and hopefully there might be a few Comic Cons online coming up where I can actually meet more and more fans of the game. That's been something as well that I've kind of missed out on the last couple of years since the game came out, because I've been busy with quite a lot of theatre work. But I was looking forward to doing one earlier in the year, which unfortunately got postponed. But hopefully now with the virtual stuff that's going on, I might be able to actually finally get to meet more and more supporters of the game and just thank them for their support and, and just be able to have a chat with them. That's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So that's all I have for your question, guys. So
there you go.
thank you so much for doing that for me.